The movie begins with a young boy named Nick watching his father prepare for something terrible. His father, a powerful telekinetic known as a mover, warns him that one day he'll meet a girl with a flower, and when that happens, he must help her no matter what. It will be the key to changing everything. Moments later, armed agents storm their hideout. These aren't ordinary soldiers. They're part of a secret organization called Division, a force that hunts and experiments on psychics to weaponize their powers. As Division closes in, Nick's father hides his son in another room and makes a final stand. Nick watches helplessly as his father uses his powers to hurl agents across the walls before being overpowered and killed. The man who leads them, Henry Carver, orders the body taken to a lab. Alone and terrified, Nick realizes that he's now a fugitive, and his father's warning will shape the rest of his life. 10 years later, the story jumps to a young woman named Kira, strapped to a medical table inside a Division laboratory. Carver oversees as scientists inject her with a dangerous serum meant to enhance her abilities. The experiment fails, her heart stops, but suddenly she awakens, using her psychic strength to kill the doctors and escape. Using a stolen pass and quick thinking, she slips out of the facility before the lockdown can trap her inside. Division immediately deploys its sniffers, psychics who can track anyone by scent, to hunt her down. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, Nick has grown into a struggling man living in exile, barely surviving by gambling with his limited telekinetic powers. When his trick fails, he loses everything and ends up owing thousands to local thugs. After a brutal beating, he returns to his small apartment, only to find Division agents waiting. They warn him not to interfere in their search for a missing girl, hinting that they'll find him no matter where he runs. Moments after they leave, Nick gets a strange phone call. A young voice tells him to open his door. There stands Cassie Holmes, a 13-year-old watcher who can see glimpses of the future. Exhausted and hungry, she raids his fridge before explaining why she's there. She's seen a vision of Nick helping her find $6 million and saving countless lives in the process. Cassie reveals that the girl Division is chasing, Kira, has that money in a suitcase and that helping her is crucial. Nick refuses. He wants nothing to do with Division ever again. But Cassie insists that if they don't act soon, something terrible will happen. In her visions, the future changes constantly. But one thing remains certain. She needs Nick's help to stop what's coming. Her visions lead them to a gang known as the Pop Family, psychics who use their powers for crime. Their leader's daughter, another watcher, claims to have seen Nick with the escaped girl. Tension erupts and Cassie is threatened at gunpoint. But when the gang attacks, Nick unleashes his telekinesis, throwing enemies through walls as he and Cassie barely escape. Soon they're pursued by the Pop Family's deadly enforcers, bleeders, whose sonic screams can shatter glass and rupture organs. Their attacks send waves of destruction through the streets. Nick and Cassie flee for their lives, slipping through chaos until they finally lose them in the crowd. Somewhere out there, Kira is still on the run, and Division is closing in fast. Elsewhere, Kira wakes up in a small boat, disoriented. On a fogged mirror, someone has written Nick. She writes the name again beneath it, realizing she somehow knows him. Cassie's visions soon reveal Kira's location, and she brings Nick to a healer, known as a Stitch, to tend his injuries. The woman helps because Cassie's mother once saved her. Cassie gives Nick a lotus flower, just like in his father's prophecy. She tells him that Division has imprisoned her mother, one of the most powerful watchers alive, because they couldn't control her. Then Cassie shows Nick a drawing of a woman being captured, her vision of what's about to happen if they fail. Another sketch warns him that a woman will cause his death. Meanwhile, Kira is recaptured by Division agents, but she fights back using her powers to manipulate memories. She plants false images in one agent's mind, making him believe his partner killed his brother. Enraged, he turns on his ally, giving Kira the perfect chance to escape again. Her powers are growing stronger and far more dangerous. Following Cassie's sketches, Nick tracks down a shifter named Hook, who can change the form of any object. They convince him to transform an earring into a glass bead, something they can use to locate the missing suitcase through a sniffer named Emily. But when they reach Emily's home, they discover Division has already been there. Emily identifies the girl's trail leading to the harbor, and that's where Kira and Nick finally cross paths again. The moment they see each other, the tension is electric. Kira accuses Nick of abandoning her when she was taken by Division. He swears he tried to find her, but she never answered his calls. Something about her seems off, fragmented, confused, as if she doesn't remember parts of her own life. Nick suspects she may have erased her own memories to protect a secret Division can't extract. Cassie distrusts Kira, warning Nick she's trouble, but he refuses to leave her behind. They hide Kira with a shadow, a man whose ability can cloak others from psychic detection. For $500 a day, he promises Division will never find her as long as she stays near him. Nick and Kira take shelter in a rundown motel, while Cassie searches for their next move. As Nick and Kira reconnect, her charm begins to work on him again. She manipulates his emotions with subtle psychic influence, rekindling feelings he thought were real. Outside, Cassie encounters Pop Girl, who threatens her life and warns that she knows how Cassie will die. Cassie's drawings show only grim futures, and her fear grows that they're running out of time. Determined to end this, Nick confronts Carver in a restaurant, holding him and his telekinetic enforcer Victor at gunpoint with his powers. Carver reveals a chilling truth. Kira's body is deteriorating. The injection she received will kill her unless she gets another dose, something only Division possesses. Before Nick can react, Victor uses his powers to counterattack, throwing Nick across the room in a brutal telekinetic duel. Nick barely escapes with his life. Cassie finds him and warns that Kira is dying. Desperate, they search for answers. When Cassie sketches again, she draws herself holding Kira's shoes, a strange clue that leads them to find a locker key hidden inside them. Whatever's inside that locker could change everything, but Pop Girl sees everything before they do. To beat her, Nick devises a daring plan. They'll stop thinking about the future entirely. He writes letters for every ally, each containing secret instructions to be opened only at the right time. Then he visits a man who can erase memories, wiping his own knowledge of the plan so even Division's mind readers can't discover it. At the exact hour written in the letters, the plan activates. Hook retrieves the real suitcase, swaps it with a fake, and sets the pieces in motion. Popfather's gang intercepts the decoy, only to find a bottle of soy sauce instead of the psychic serum they expected. Division, the Pops, and Nick's allies all move blindly, following steps written by a man who no longer remembers his own plan. Nick awakens after his memory wipe, confused but driven by instinct. When he finds Cassie's gun in his apartment, he realizes danger is coming. Teresa the healer attacks him, but he overpowers her using his telekinesis. Across the city, chaos erupts as every faction converges on the true suitcase's location. Carver confronts Kira, revealing the final truth. She was once a loyal Division agent who volunteered for the injection experiment. Her survival was no miracle, it was by design. He shows her an ID card, trying to reawaken her loyalty, but Kira resists, her mind torn between who she was and who she's become. Cassie, meanwhile, faces her darkest vision, her own death. Determined to break fate, she moves through the city without thinking, confusing the Watchers tracking her. When Pop Girl corners her at gunpoint, Cassie is saved at the last second by the memory wiper, who erases Pop Girl's mind completely. Nick finally confronts Carver on a rooftop. Kira, under Carver's control, almost turns on him, but Nick fights back, resisting Carver's psychic domination and grabbing the syringe. Carver warns him it will kill him, but Nick injects himself anyway. Pain floods through his body, and he collapses, only for Carver and Kira to leave, thinking he's dead. Cassie finds Nick alive. She reveals the truth. The syringe he injected wasn't the real serum, it was soy sauce, another part of his elaborate plan. The real serum, hidden in a garbage bin, remains safely in their hands. Now Division will never get it. Cassie wonders if she should use it as leverage to free her imprisoned mother. Meanwhile, on a plane back to Division headquarters, Kira opens the envelope Nick gave her. Inside are photos of them together and one message: kill him. Realizing Carver's manipulation, she takes control of his mind and kills him instead. Only then does she understand the truth. Her love for Nick was real after all. With Carver dead and Division crippled, the psychic war finally ends, but the future remains unwritten. If you could have just one of these psychic powers, moving objects, seeing the future, or controlling minds, which one would you choose? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more thrilling movie recaps from Great Animation Recaps.